The Mosin brass stacker scope mount for 9130. This allows you to keep the iron sights. As you can see here, the bag, this is how it came. It's kind of dinged up on the side there. Not sure if that was through shipping or at their place, but as you can see when I pull it out, the actual mount and the rail here is actually looking pretty good, so I don't think it's banged up. So that's a good thing. And so even though the bag is a little ripped, that's not a problem. This is everything that you get. As you can see, it comes with detailed instructions, the actual mount, with all the hardware, and then some of the tools. One of the tools they're missing is actually the socket for the nut that goes on the other side of the Allen. Now this is how you go ahead and punch them out. It comes with a punch here, and you're going to have to give it some pressure. I put it under these magazines here. And I thought they were soldered in, but I gave them a good hit, and I think I got them through. I actually bent the punch a little bit, but it comes right through there. The holes are pretty tight, so the screws, I kind of use that punch as well as kind of a reverse punch. Once I got them in there, so I could bang the screws through. And those are the pins that came out of it, and I'm going to save those. As you can see here, that's how this guy comes right on in, fits right on there, and that's the angle that you put it in at. And the holes are not as large as the holes, so there's actually room there to wiggle, which I thought was pretty problematic. So I'm going to put it all the way towards the front, because when the recoil comes back, it's actually going to want to push the scope towards the front. And this all the way back here, at that point, it'll help it keep it from not shifting forward. This is the proper installation of the lock nut and washer as you put the bolt on and the nut. So when you put the nut on, that's the lock nut and the washer. I think it works great. It locks it in, so make sure you get those in the right orientation. And these are just some interesting marks that I got here on the bolt. I thought it was kind of interesting. If anyone knows about any of that, that'd be appreciated. But there's a lot of interesting marks, and I think I'll make a video on that later. So coming up, this is all the way on, and she's pretty much ready to go. The brass stacker is installed. They don't, again, have the actual piece that you need to actually clamp down that nut there. So that's kind of unfortunate. A little piece would have been good for that, but I think that's all right. Now you got the scope. And they give you every other thing, so even the drill bit, so I'm not sure really why they wouldn't give you just a little, a small piece to hold that in, but that's okay. So again, I got it scoped here. This is the end result for the Mosin, the brass stacker mount. Got this little cheap scope here. I'll go over some reviews on that. But again, as you can see, the rings are, I'm going to move the rings over a little bit. You can actually move it farther back, but I didn't want it to interfere with actually loading the rounds. So I can move it farther back and clear the bolt, but I want to use the stripper tips to load it. So I'm going to leave it up here, and it's a long R-leaf scope. So hopefully it'll hold up. I've heard some bad things about this, but it's really cheap, and that's why I got it. And I'll do some testing on it and hopefully see how long it'll last for me and if it'll hold at zero. And so that's pretty much the whole build, and that's the Mosin brass stacker mount. As you can see here, this is the actual, they claim that you can use the iron sights still, but the sight picture is pretty minimal. I think it's somewhat doable, but it's a lot less than I was thinking. I guess I could assume that you could use it for that, but the sight picture is pretty compromised. It does allow you to see through somewhat, but again, as long as you keep the scope a little lower to the bore, I might as well probably just got rid of the iron sights and left it near the bore. Anyway, as you can see here, you can lift the iron sight up to I think the first notch or the second notch here. If anybody knows exactly what that notch is, I'll have to take the sight off to make sure, for the mount off. But again, that's the first notch, so that's really the highest you can get it. And as you can see here, the sight picture in that highest level is still, I guess, doable, but it's pretty minimal as far as what you can really see and fire targets on there. But I guess it's somewhat worth it. In a pinch, close range, it might work. So again, this is just the entire build here. Coming up next, I'll probably be putting on the new ATI stock and the trigger upgrade. Peace out.